Hi, I'm George. Welcome to GMakes, and this is how to make geometry node chains real quick. I needed them for a scene I was working on, and I just came up with this. So we're gonna do it. So to start, that's my pre-made one. So we'll get back to object mode. I'm going to insert a curve circle, just a Bezier curve. I'm in the Geometry Nodes workspace, down here, Geometry Node Editor. With my curve selected, I'm just going to make a new Geometry Nodes editor, I guess, just a new Geometry Node selection. And this is where we're going to get to work. So, first things first, we need a chain link. And how we're going to do that is, while a chain link is a circle, we are actually going to start with a curve quadrilateral. Yes, a rectangle. There we go. I'm going to make this width 4, so it gets a little more like a rectangle, so we have kind of that shape, but again it has corners. We don't want corners, so we're going to fillet like a fish, fillet a curve, not fillet a fish. We'll switch this to poly count. I like something around 10. This basically just says when this becomes a mesh, like how many points, how smooth this edge is going to be. You can change it later. Radius though, we're going to bump this up to, we want to keep it under 1, and I'll show why in just a second, but this will get us that nice kind of oval elliptical shape of a chain link. So we have our basic link, well, the shape at least, but we want to go ahead and make this curve to mesh, and we're going to take this profile curve and make this a curve circle, and I'll just keep the radius there because I'm actually going to do a set curve radius to change it. You could just use this curve circle and modify the radius down here, but my brain works better with this set curve radius. I like something about like 0.3, 0.305. You can make this as thick, heavy duty chain as you want. I'm just going to keep it there. And again, the reason why this is under 1 is because if we go above 1, it starts to clip into itself. So you just want to keep that at like 0.95. And then we have this nice chain link. So we've got one link. I'm going to go ahead and just arrange this a little bit, so I can go ahead, select this all, Control J. I'll go ahead and change this to a, we'll name this chain, all caps, chain link. I'm gonna click out of that, hit N to hide that. Now we have one chain link, so I'm just gonna Shift D to copy that, grab a join geometry, put that up there, connect these up. But we don't see anything because we got two links now, link 1 and link 2, link between worlds, but we ain't seen anything. That's because they're just on top of each other. So if we get transform geometry, move this down, and we'll first just rotate along the x-axis here, the red line. We'll rotate this second link 90 degrees, and there we go. We got like a weird cage going on. And then again, we're along the x-axis, so we're just going to move this until we get to where they're almost intersecting. This might change this distance depending on, again, how thick your curve is, your curve radius. Sorry, this was just bugging me. These should be like this. They don't have to be like that, but for my brain, I like having this nice flow. Anyway, back to these chains. There we go. So there's still a little bit of disconnect. Depending on how close up in your scene you're going to be, that might not matter. 0.34, they're just slightly touching, is what I want. So now we have our chain links. Look at that. They're looking all great, but now we need something to go ahead and distribute them on, because now these are going to be set as our instance. So again, if we go to our original geometry, which again was that curve right here, a wonderful little curve, we're going to grab a, caps lock is on, caps lock is off. I accidentally hit caps lock instead of shift, which I do a lot. We're going to do an instance on points. There we go, and we use this these two chain links as our instance. Way too big, so for this scale, I'm actually just going to grab a value node, and then I have this one slider for all my scale values. So 0.1 is still going to be a bit large for our final product, so I like 0.015 is what I found works for this standard scale. You can make this any size you want. But I didn't want to mess around with it too much, so I like this. But you can see we only have two little links here, and that's because we need to resample our curve. And so in your scene, if you need a little more control, you could keep this count. But the issue with a count is that as we move it, it's just going to keep the same number. So we actually want lengths, and no matter how many chains we draw, or how long they are, it will always have the same distribution of points on there. So now we got the basic gist of our chain, but you can see it's not lined up with anything. They're not following the actual rotation of this curve. And that is because we need to get them to follow the tangent, which is on a curve. It's this line that's perpendicular, right? Yeah, perpendicular to any point on this line. So the tangents are all along that line on that curve. So we need to find that. And luckily, as in many things within Blender, and geometry node specifically, there's a node for that. It's just curve tangent right there. We got it. Bada bing, bada boom. We plug that into rotation and it helps a little bit. But now it's doing all the tangents of all the directions. And you can see how like this is sloping. So technically this curve is not just flat, whatever. We don't want that. We want it to follow it exactly and specifically. So if we get an align Euler to vector, you can see it's doing something, not doing what we want though. We actually want this tangent not in rotation, which is the default input, but into vector. And there we go, it lines up. And that's partly because if it's not for you, you can see I'm having these chains, this whole link is aligned on this x-axis right here, x-axis. So that means on my align Euler to vector, I have it on the x. If this was on the y for whatever reason, this was going this way instead, then I would have it on the y. But because my chain is on the x, I'm having it aligned on the x. So there we go again. And we got our chain. Nice and simple. We'll do a little close-up. That's it. That's a chain for you. So if I go into edit mode, I can rotate this. You can see as I move it, it stretches and adds more links in, again, because I'm doing the length modifier. If you want to make these bigger, for whatever reason, you just need to make this distance between your points much larger until you find one that works. And again, you can kind of modify your chain. And again, the larger your links, the more gentle your curves are going to have to be, or just the longer in general your chain is going to have to be before you like rotate it. See, there we go. Now we have a nice rotation on our curve. So that's it. That's the basics. That's how you make chains in Blender with geometry nodes, so you can really draw any shape. My chains are pretty big right now, so my shapes have to be rather large. But you can draw anything that you might want. And then if you want to do a material on this, you would just set material, go here, and I already have a material set up, but you just choose your material. I don't know, make it like metallic or something. You could add a material texture to that. You can mess around with UVs if you want. But that's it. That's chains. I have no lights in the scene, so that's where... There we go. That was a little bit rambly chains video. I just did this quickly, and I just wanted to get this out there. So if you have any questions or comments, leave them in, well, the comments below. Subscribe if you like these kind of tutorials that are just kind of things off the cuff, and also as I discover things when I make scenes, I do VFX and 3D art. So subscribe to this channel if you want more of that. Check out my other tutorials. If you have any suggestions, I think I already said that, leave them in the comments below. I'm going to end this rambling video. Hope this helped you. Hope you make some cool things with it. And I've been George, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.